Welcome to the deep dive. Today, get ready to look at two really fascinating, maybe deceptively simple stories from ancient Buddhist texts.
Yeah, these little snippets, they're called vathas, stories of origin from the Dhammapada commentary.
Exactly. We've pulled out key bits from Pasenadikosalarājavatthu, that's story 234, and Pāverakahatthivatthu, which is 236. And our aim today isn't just to, retell these stories about a king and an elephant.
Right.
We want to really dig into the wisdom packed inside them. What can these short tales teach you about, well, overcoming inertia, finding energy when you feel bogged down, and tackling obstacles in your own life?
Because often it's these relatable, almost everyday situations in the text that hold profound truths.
Okay, let's jump into the first one. It's about King Pasenadi of Kosala. Now, you picture a king, right? You'd think active, powerful, in control.
You wouldn't expect him to be sidelined by something mundane, but one day after a really big meal, the text is specific, a dunta of rice, plus side dishes, a serious amount.
A dunt?
He felt this intense discomfort. Mahadukha, the text calls it, great suffering.
So not just feeling a bit stuffed. This was significant.
Absolutely. And it really affected him. He goes to see the Buddha, but he's clearly not himself. He looks tired, just worn out.
Philanthropo, right? Tired looking.
Exactly. And he couldn't even sit up straight. He was sort of rolling around, sleepy.
Wow.
Yeah, Nadaya Abipuyamano, overcome by sleep. He had to just sit off to the side, visibly struggling.
So the Buddha sees this straight away.
Asks him, why did you come without resting first?
And the king admits it.
Yep. Confirms this awful discomfort hit him right after eating.
And the Buddha's first point is pretty direct.
Incredibly direct. Too much food, atibahu pujanasa, causes this kind of suffering. Avadukahoti, simple, but it kicks things off.
And then comes a verse, a gatha. And it paints quite a picture, doesn't it?
It really does. Maybe not the most flattering picture. It describes someone who's lethargic midi and a heavy eater mahagaso. Sleeps a lot, rolls around when lying down, and the comparison is stark. Like a mahavaroho, a great pig fattened on hog's food.
Oof. Fattened on navapa, like bran or something. The commentary even compares it to a house pig. Raised from young, gets fat, can't go out, just rolls under beds.
It's a really strong image of being completely bogged down. And the verse links this state being mondo, slow-witted, to being stuck in rebirth. Punapuna gabamupeti, you don't get free.
So that physical heaviness, that lethargy from overeating, it's not just physical discomfort. It actually clouds the mind, makes it hard to gain insight.
Precisely. The commentary explains media as being overcome by sluggishness and torpor, and Mahagaso, the heavy eater, it even lists examples of famously big eaters.
Like Aharahathaka and others mentioned.
Right, and the point is, if you're in that state, rolling around like that fattened pig, you can't contemplate the core truths: impermanence, suffering, non-self, anicca, dukkha, anatta.
Because you're just too physically uncomfortable and mentally dull.
Exactly. Lacking that contemplation, you remain slow-witted, stuck in the cycle, dwelling in the womb again and again.
Okay, so that's the problem clearly laid out. How did the Buddha help the king get out of this? What was the practical solution?
Well, to benefit the king, the Buddha spoke another verse. This one offers the way out.
The positive path, what did it say?
It talks about someone who is always mindful, sadasotimato. Someone who knows moderation in the food they get, mataya janato ladopojane.
Mindfulness and moderation.
For that person, feelings of discomfort vedana become slight. Tanukasa havanti. Their life force is preserved, ayu palayanti, and food digests slowly, properly. Sachka jurati.
Ah, okay, so not just eat less, but cultivate mindfulness around eating and know your limits.
Yes. And the method the Buddha gave was brilliant, really practical.
What was it?
He had a young man, Uttara, memorize the second verse,
Right.
and told Uttara to recite it to the king precisely at mealtimes. That was the upaya, the technique, to help him cut back.
Wow, right there, in the moment. A constant reminder, embedded in the routine itself. That's quite clever.
It's incredibly skillful, and it worked.
Did it?
Oh, yeah. The king followed through. Eventually, he got down to just one Nike of rice as his maximum, a huge reduction from that duh.
That's a massive change.
And the results. He became salokasaturo, light-bodied, he felt well, sukhapato, and importantly, his confidence and trust in the Buddha really deepened.
And that led to other things too, right? The offering.
Yes. He felt so good, so inspired, he held this unparalleled 7-day offering, the Asadisa, which benefited many other people as well.
It's amazing. The whole path started with, basically, portion control, prompted by a mindful reminder. It wasn't some complex meditation, just addressing that physical habit.
It shows how tackling something seemingly simple, something physical, can unlock deeper well-being and even spiritual confidence.
Absolutely. Okay, let's shift to the second story. We're still with King Kosala, but this time it's about his elephant, Pāvaraka.
Right. And this elephant, Pāvaraka, used to be incredibly strong in his youth. Mahabalo.
But like the king with his food, age caught up with the elephant.
Yes. The text says he was struck by the force of wind caused by old age Paverakabecomes. A bit poetic, maybe meaning just weakened by age.
And what happened?
He went into a big lake and got completely stuck in the mud. Kalali lagitva. Couldn't get out.
Just bogged down. A powerful creature, now helpless.
People saw him there and remarked on it, how even this mighty elephant had become so weak, dubilabavapado.
So the news reached the king.
It did, and the king told his elephant trainer, the Hatakarya, go get him out.
Okay, so you'd expect ropes, maybe other elephants pulling?
Right, but the trainer did something unexpected. He went to the spot, showed the elephant the battleground, Sagamasisal Dasatva, maybe a banner or signal.
The battle signal for an elephant stuck in mud.
And then, this is the key part, he had the war drum beaten.
Yeah. Well, war drum.
Well, the text describes the elephant as manajatiko, sort of born of pride or having a noble, perhaps warlike nature.
Huh.
Hearing that drum, that familiar call to action, something clicked. He rose up with speed Vajanutaya and stood firm on solid ground. Tail Patihahi.
Incredible. The sound triggered his innate strength, his identity.
Exactly. It wasn't physical force from outside, but an internal surge prompted by that specific stimulus.
And the monks saw this happen.
They did, and they told the Buddha.
And he, of course, saw a teaching moment.
Immediately. He turned to the monks and said essentially, look, that elephant pulled herself out of ordinary, difficult mud, pakati pakadugato. But you, he told the monks, you've fallen into the difficult place of defilements. Kilsaduga pakanta.
Ah, the metaphor. The real mud is the internal stuff, greed, hatred, delusion.
Precisely. So he urged them. Therefore, apply effort properly, Yonisopadahitva, and lift yourselves out of that mud.
And connected it directly back to the elephant with another verse.
Yes. The verse goes, be delighted in mindfulness, apamadarata. Guard your own mind, sasitamanarahata. Lift yourselves out of the difficult places, duga uttaratana, just like an elephant sunk in the mud, paksanova kunjaro.
Apamadarata delighted in mindfulness, not just doing it, but finding joy, taking refuge in non-heedlessness, non-absence of mindfulness.
Yes, being apirita, delighted in satya avipavase. And sachita, one's own mind, guard it regarding sense objects, forms, sounds, etc., so it doesn't transgress, doesn't get stuck.
Keep it clean, essentially.
And the comparison, sano, sunk. Just as that elephant sunk in the mud, made an effort via makata with his feet, lifted himself out, and stood on firm ground.
We need to do the same.
Exactly. Lift yourself from the difficult place of defilements, the kilsadagado, and establish yourself on the firm ground of nibbana.
So it takes real conscious effort, like the elephant straining against the mud.
Absolutely. Vayama effort is key, and the result for those monks listening. At the end of that teaching, the text says, many were established in the fruit of arahantship, full liberation.
Wow. Okay, so these two stories. A king stuck because of overeating, an elephant stuck in literal mud because of weakness. They seem different, but there's a clear parallel, isn't there?
Definitely. Both are about being stuck. The king is stuck by physical discomfort leading to mental lethargy. The elephant is physically stuck by weakness and mud.
And in both cases, getting unstuck involved a specific trigger or method linked to a teaching.
Right. For the king, it was mindful moderation triggered by that verse at mealtimes. For the elephant, it was tapping into that inner drive, that pride or strength, triggered by the war drum, which allowed him to make the necessary effort.
So for you listening, this isn't just ancient folklore. These situations mirror things we face all the time, right?
Absolutely. That feeling of physical sluggishness draining your energy, your mental clarity, or feeling mentally bogged down, stuck in procrastination or negative thought patterns, or facing obstacles that just feel overwhelming.
From the King story, we see the direct link. Physical choices impact mental capacity. What we eat, how we treat our body, can literally hinder or help our ability to think clearly, to be present, maybe even to engage with deeper questions.
And the power of a simple, consistent technique. That verse wasn't magic, but it was a tool used skillfully to change a deep-seated habit. It makes you ask, what seemingly small physical habit might be weighing you down more than you realize.
Yeah, really makes you think. And the elephant. It's such a powerful metaphor. The Buddha takes the literal mud and instantly applies it to the inner mud of defilements, the kilesa.
And that pride of the elephant, maybe we can see it as tapping into our own core energy, our motivation. What's your war drum? What stimulus, internal or external, can help you find that energy to push through inertia or difficult mental states?
Is it reminding yourself of your values, setting a specific small goal, changing your environment?
Finding what works to trigger that necessary effort. And the path out, the Buddha says, is mindfulness, being delighted in it and guarding the mind. That's how you get traction out of the mental muck.
So both stories really emphasize that getting unstuck requires conscious effort via makattva. It's an active process.
And often, having a specific focus, a tool, whether it's a reminder verse for mindful eating or the practice of guarding the mind, is what helps activate and direct that effort.
So to wrap up, these seemingly simple stories from the Dhammapada commentary, they offer really practical insights. They show that our everyday habits matter profoundly.
Yeah, and that finding the right trigger, the right consistent practice, can help us break free from feeling stuck, whether it's physical lethargy or mental mud.
They show us how to get ourselves onto firmer ground.
It's about applying wisdom and effort, often to the things we might overlook.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. If a king's spiritual path could be blocked by his lunch habits, and an old elephant could find the power to escape literal mud just by hearing a sound connected to its core identity, what simple habit or trigger could you focus on starting today?
What small physical change or what way of guarding your mind could help lift you out of feeling stuck and unlock a bit more mental freedom? How might attending to the physical actually free up the mental?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.